Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to be discussing the 4 necessary categories to improve yourself as a Fortnite player and ultimately become one of the top Fortnite players in the world. This video is going to be a discussion on the 4 different things that I believe almost every top tier Fortnite player has all but mastered in the game, and all of the different ways that you can improve these 4 different categories, which will ultimately lead you to improving as a Fortnite player, and if you master them enough, becoming one of the best Fortnite players in the world. So let's get right into it with category number 1, which is positioning. So I call positioning the silent killer in Fortnite Battle Royale because it's kind of hard to notice whether or not you're good or great or awful at positioning, and even top tier players, it's something that doesn't get enough attention, the guys that are really great at positioning themselves perfectly in gunfights in Fortnite. For example, I think we can all recognize right away that a guy like TSM Myth is an insane builder. I think we can all recognize, just by watching 5 minutes of his stream, that Nick Merckx has insane gun skill. But if I were to ask you right now, name me a Fortnite player that's at the top level that has great positioning, you may struggle to think of one because it's something that isn't talked enough about that makes you really good at Fortnite. So what exactly is positioning and how can you improve it? Well, I believe that putting yourself in good positioning basically means that every gunfight you get into, you have an advantage in before it even starts. Whether it be high ground, whether it be shooting a guy from his side, whether it be flanking a team of 2 or 3 people and getting off, 5 or 6 hits before they even turn around and locate you, those are all aspects of great positioning. And like I've said in one of my previous videos, I think it's a sign of a really great player when you're killing a lot of people who aren't facing you and shooting them in their back, shooting a guy who's just in general not looking at you or at your side. That is, in my opinion, a sign of a great player and someone with great positioning. I think it's really important in squad fights to be constantly repositioning yourself and kind of getting lost in the chaos, as I call it, because if you're in a 4v4 squad fight and everyone on your team is just grouped up together right next to each other, it's going to be easy for the enemy team to track all 4 players, and since you guys are so close to each other, it's going to be easy for them to hit you guys with grenades, rockets, clingers, and when it comes to like long-range AR battles or sniper battles, it's easiest for enemies to shoot at guys who are really close together because you don't have to adjust your aim much to shoot at multiple guys. You could be aiming at one guy, miss, and hit a totally different teammate, which still is going to hurt your squad as a whole. And it's so easy to lose battles if you guys are just sitting ducks sitting right next to each other. The smart way to position yourself in squad battles is to be constantly readjusting your position and attacking from different angles. If you have an enemy and one of your teammates is shooting from in front of him, one's shooting from the left, one's shooting from the right, and maybe even one's shooting from behind, it's going to be impossible to block all of those shots with building or by returning fire. So that is how you should attack squad battles. It's a little harder to be great with positioning in solo because it's hard to get lost in the chaos, as I call it, with squad battles, but still, just in general, keeping high ground, getting on mountains, flanking, attacking from the side, those are all things that make great positioning that you can even do in solos. So that's a great way to improve and super important to become a top tier player. Category number 2 is IQ, and just like positioning, I feel like this isn't as easy to identify in a player as something like really good building or really good gun skill is. The signs of a good IQ player, in my opinion, someone that never pushes bad fights. I'm talking, 4v1s or 3v1s in a close range area where the 3 or 4 players know you're coming. That would be a sign of a low IQ player because unless you have the craziest gun skill in the world, you're going to lose that fight like 9 out of 10 times, if not more. Someone that never pushes enemies that have high ground without having a clear laid out plan first because, like a 3v1 or a 4v1, if you don't have high ground and you push, that's pretty much a GG most of the time. A high IQ player is someone that I think really recognizes where enemies are going to be rotating from and is always in general thinking about what enemies are going to do. This is like the next step of a high IQ player. Everyone can think about what you're doing, am I going to push push this mountain to get high ground? You know, should I run forward? Should I retreat back? But to really become a super high IQ guy, you got to think about what you're going to do and also what your enemies are going to do. Because if you can predict what your enemies are going to do, you're going to have a much easier time killing them. Like, for example, if you have a team trapped near the edge of the storm and your team needs to go because you're probably not going to be able to live out the storm, you shouldn't just run to the safe zone right away. What you want to do is trap that team near the edge of the storm in the storm so they just have to run forward or else they're going to die. It should be an easy team wipe because you have every advantage in the world since you're waiting on them. Then you take their bandages and their med kits and their campfires or whatever the heck you want, and you use that to get you safely through the storm. You know, that's just a really simple example. That's not like a super high IQ play, but it's something that really is like a sign of a high IQ player, to always think about what your opponents are doing and just staying calm in high pressure situations. That's something else that I recognize in high IQ players. You know, some guys get so flustered and start raging before they even die that they really give away any chance they have to clutch it out or come out in scenarios where it's looking really, really bleak. But if you don't panic and think everything through and continue to play smart even though things are looking bad, you at least give yourself some kind of a chance. And you know, it's better to have a 20 or 30% chance in a fight than to panic and rage and bring that chance down to a 0% chance. So that's the final sign of a high IQ player in my opinion. Moving on to category number 3, we have gun skill. Now, gun skill is one of those ones that I believe is pretty easily recognizable in just the first few gunfights. I think shotgun accuracy in this game is the #1 importance of gun skill in Fortnite, because when it's close range and any shot could go for 200 or 150 damage, it's really important that you're accurate. A guy like Nick Merckx, in my opinion, is one of those guys that really isn't great at building, but because of his insane gun skill, he's able to be absolutely undisputedly one of the top players in the world. Now, unfortunately, there's no tips I could possibly give you to get your gun skill anywhere near Nick Merckx's. It's one of the absolute hardest things to teach in Fortnite or any video game for that reason. You know, I can't mentally, just by talking to you, make your gun skill better. Now, there are a few basic tips out there. I made a shotgun tip video on my channel that goes over some of the things that are needed to have really good gun skill in Fortnite. One of those things is sensitivity, which I've harped on this channel many, many times. If you have bad gun skill and you're playing on like a 9 or 10 sensitivity or a really high ADS sensitivity, one of the quickest ways you'll personally be able to improve your gun skill is by lowering your sensitivity. But if you're a guy that plays on that 5, 6, or 7, which I always talk about as the best sensitivities, and you're still struggling to hit your shotgun shots, or you play on a .45 or a .5 ADS and you still can't hit your AR shots, really the only way to improve is just to keep practicing. I know it sucks. I know it really is hard because you can't see game to game improvement, because you can't just improve your gun skill in 1 or 2 games. It's really a long-term process, and it truly is the only way to improve your gun skill. Just go tilted to improve your shotgun gun skill. If you want to improve your AR gun skill, go into more wide open areas like Greasy Grove or Pleasant Park, where you can shoot guys in medium range encounters with AR gunfights and try to improve your AR gun skill that way. But other than that, there's no really magical answer to improving gun skill. It's practicing, picking the right sensitivity, and making sure you don't get too frustrated by losing fights. The final thing I want to go over in this video today is building. And I've said many, many times on this channel that building is the most important aspect to becoming a great Fortnite player, and it's also the quickest way to become a great Fortnite player. Now, I do still 100% believe that's true, but at the same time, I feel like I didn't really fully get my point across. And also, I believe that people are really being misled by these top super fast Fortnite builders all over YouTube, because that is not the quickest way to become a great Fortnite player. What those 10 sensitivity spin and circle guys are doing are not what you should be doing to really become a good builder. Yeah, it's super awesome to watch. You know, it looks super cool when 10 sensitivity guys are building crazy structures in the air. But you don't need to be able to do that to become a great builder. And sometimes I feel like those 9 and 10 sensitivity guys are like just building for show, just to show off for videos. You don't need to build the Taj Mahal to kill a no-skin that can't even aim with a shotgun. You just need to be able to build basic structures to kill those guys. And in an average Fortnite lobby, there are probably only about 5 to 10 guys, if that you're going to ever need to really quote-unquote build battle to kill them like the 10 sensitivity guys are always showing in their videos. If you can just keep your composure and build basic structures, keep the high ground on guys, know what pieces link to each other to stay ahead of people, you'll be fine as a builder in Fortnite. And yeah, to really become a top tier builder, you're going to need to be able to consistently win those build battles, but you don't need to be on 9 or 10 sensitivity to do it. And a lot of those guys that are on 9 or 10 sensitivity, well, their games are struggling in other categories. I have some serious doubts about the shotgun accuracy of those super fast spin in circles 9 and 10 sensitivity builders, because I've played shooter video games at pretty high competitive levels for the last 10 to 12 years, and I really can't consistently hit shotgun shots on anything over like 7 or 8 sensitivity. So like I said, I have super serious doubts about those 10 sensitivity fast builders being able to hit enough shotgun shots consistently to really be a top tier player with gun skill. So that's just my opinion on the whole ordeal. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, you don't really need to master all 4 categories to become a top tier player, but you need to become really, really good at least 2 or 3 of them. And to truly become the most complete Fortnite player possible, you're going to want to get really good with all 4 categories. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.